No, I'm going for the pompous look. I'll have my chin up the entire time.
That's true. That's another option.
Look down my nostrils at everyone.
It's a work in progress. You don't want to hit everybody with all the improvements in one go. Then you can't keep on making improvements as time goes on.
That's the Johnny Boy special right there. Starting off with just text on the screen and then moving on from that point onwards. But yeah, the death did come very much in towards Rogue. Twitch chat even more so, 82%. And it has historically been a very Rogue-heavy matchup. As a matter of fact, I've got a bunch of results here. And unfortunately for XSET, even since their days of Stromboli, none of these results have ever gone their way. It's all the way up back to Fusion in the 3v3 side of the tournament, and they still have not got a win since then. It has been bad.
Wow, that's pretty crazy, actually, because, you know, you'd expect XSET to have some success in this matchup because they are such a disruptive team. When we saw what they were able to do against NRG in the last regional, in the playoffs, in the final day of the competition. Now, Rogue are a team who's similarly to NRG recently. They kind of don't react very well when things just go horribly, like a 50-50 bounce into your net, or somebody whiffs the ball, or own goals, or something silly happens, double commits. They can really spiral out of control. Now XSET are just going to try and bring that upon them, try to get that game going, and it all starts with Alpha Kep, I believe. He is the king of chaos and you know, running that disruptive playstyle. Oh, what a play by Turo, though. First killer clears the way, and 1-0 already for Rogue, just 90 seconds in. That mind game by Turo is pretty sick.
Yeah, mind game to take one out, and first killer will do the rest of the work. Just removes them from the field with the demos, and that is a fantastic start for Rogue. They'll want this here to go their way because, you know, we talked about it earlier on about how Rogue can just fall apart. And this is not the time of the tournament to do it. If they are going to do it, and if you're a fan of Rogue, you prefer that to be later on when the points have been secured. PayPal going to clear, not going to get any further. It does run out of boost. The question becomes is, you know, what version of XSET are we going to see today? They have looked a little bit more dangerous ever since adding T. Corral, and very lucky for Alpha Kep to avoid being hit by first killer on the way back. Novi by himself. Get the clear, looks to try and follow as well, and has been very static defending thus far from the lads over on XSET. T. Corral wants to go far corner. It's a bit of a heavy first touch. And that worries me a little bit, Johnny, because whenever you do go static defense, it does open you up to that demo game. And so far, Rogue have been spotting it very early.
Yeah, Rogue are pretty good at avoiding that. You know, a lot of people talk about first killers, 1v1 background, and what that brings to the Rogue team offensively. But really, I think the biggest bonus from first killer's 1v1 expertise is the defense. Almost no one in NA can defend a goal line better than this guy. You know, off the top of my head, I really can't think of anybody who's just as good at consistently positioning in the perfect place. Oh, look at Turo go. He is just scoring at will right now. And unfortunately for XSET, they did not have a challenge on this ball. That was just far too much time for Turo to play with. Great bump by Kronovi on the goal line.
Yep, and again, it's that static defense from XSET. Getting them harassed on that goal line. They cannot respond to these plays from Turo. XSET have got to change this. It's very rare that I can look at a game within 3 minutes and say this has to be a full style change. But if they keep defending this way, Rogue are going to do whatever they want to and keep scoring off it. That was an attempted pinch pass over to Kronovi. That is the sort of confidence Rogue are working with here.
Yeah, that's the potential. That's the mechanical ability that they have at their disposal. It's one of their advantages in this matchup and many other matchups. They're one of the best teams mechanically in the entire world. So when Rogue can get everything to click properly, when their double commits are not showing up, and when they're just able to play an entire series without an excess of blunders, of course they're going to be a very difficult team to beat. But the other thing to notice about Rogue is that when they trail 1-0, they tend to get very clogged up in one area of the field. But you'll notice right now, whenever they've got a lead, they're very good at spreading out and making it difficult for the other team to counterattack them, difficult for the other team to even get the ball past them. But yeah, do take note if you notice Rogue losing 1-0 or any just early scoreline against them. I always notice a very big playstyle change. Oh wait, JPow's actually through here. Kronovi getting dribbled, and XSET have got some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it was a pretty careless ball there by Turo. Ended up just handing it straight over. It's one of the ones where you are looking at the ball behind you, and the rest of the Rogue's defensive rotation just was not set up at all. Just handed it over to them, really. Rogue with a pretty much a self-made mistake. Now 1 minute left. XSET have actually got a look at this. So far have been very much the second best team here in this game. I can change very quickly in this, as it's going to go to the far side. It's going to be on T. Corral to see what you can do. Lovely second touch from Torrentoro. Now over to the wall. Kronovi already up. J-Pow wants to keep this pressure going. He's already got a teammate going back off the crossbar. First killer tried to jump for it. I don't know if he would have had it anyway. This is still good pressure coming out from XSET, but it is going to finally be cleared. And that shot was the big moment.
Yeah, that might be the best chance that they're going to get for the rest of this game. We will see. But that's still quality pressure from XSET. Good beat there by T. Corral. Now, Alpha Kep gets the demo in the back line while J-Pow works it forward towards him. Alpha Kep to the open net. It's 2-2. Oh, my goodness. Finished off his rotation in offense with an interception after clattering Kronovi out of the game. What a play by Alpha Kep. Off the ball and then into the net.
And Rogue will be looking at this, wondering where it all went wrong. They were in such good control for 80% of the game. And just like that, the lead is evaporated. XSET do not have a win on their record against Rogue across an entire series, but it'll be a great start to try and get there first if they can take this game. First killer is going to take over. He's also going to be able to steal the 100 boost. Continues to play.
Oh!
Just so quick that no one on his team was able to really get there in time, but first killer proving just how good he is at that transition game, at holding onto the midfield and just dancing around different challenges as first killer now continues to play. Very much is starting to take on the centralized role in this rotation.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of aggression from first killer. You know, I don't think that's just a game plan here in particular. It's just how the game has gone. Plenty of opportunities for first killer to get forward and make an impact in the offense. But that does leave them exposed. The demo play by Alpha Kep. We talked about it before the game. It happened. Kronovi got caught out of position. And that's given XSET momentum as well as an equalizer. They're a very momentum-based team. You heard in their comms video against NRG, they were absolutely going crazy when they got that winning goal in Game 3 to take the lead in that series last regional event. Can only begin to imagine what sort of noise is coming in when they got that equalizer goal from Alpha Kep.
Alpha Kep now on the wall. It's a great trade actually for him. He's given his team a decent bit of pressure. The only issue for J-Pal is that 100 boost didn't come through for him, and the even worse issue for him is he had to go one-on-one against first killer. Not many people will ever come on top of that. J-Pal again only over to first killer, who has been on point so far, very aggressive. And Torrentoro decides to double back on himself. Again, first killer breaks rotation, but he is doing it while spotting that his teammates weren't going to be available for him. And he is creating opportunities. Now it's going to be a case of, are Rogue going to be able to position for them?
Yeah, Rogue really have to just start blindly trusting first killer to send to the ball, because every time he's in the attacking corner, he somehow gets the ball into the middle, and usually very quickly. So Rogue are going to need to step up with their second man. Start to, first of all, have faith in first killer. Secondly, just position more aggressively. Have faith in your third behind you to do the defending if necessary. What a challenge by first killer. With no momentum, he just manages to dominate that 50-50 with Alpha Kep. Now, the battle of the minds. T. Carl showing some great composure against first killer there. Not getting baited into the challenge. First killer wanted him to flip into that. Kronovi into the middle. Turo's there. It's saved by J-Pow. Rogue have had the better opportunities in overtime so far.
And whilst this overtime has become the first killer show, it is Torrentoro that wants the hat trick. Passes it over to Corelli, but that is well read again by Corel. Is he a passing option now? Alpha Kep decides to go by himself. Doesn't take the flip reset. And can't land in a good enough position to really test Torrentoro with a challenge. Drops down. Kronovi goes for the backboard. Wants to see the mistake. It's not well dealt with so far. The lack of a follow-up from Rogue, as it has been quite often in this overtime, does lead to XSET being able to get rid of the pressure. 3 minutes of overtime played. And so far, Rogue have had the better opportunities, but that very much follows the same pattern that we had during the main game, and it was still able to go over to overtime, and it was still XSET they were able to find themselves 2 goals, pretty much out of nowhere, really, as this is now off the backboard. Alpha Kep tries to follow up first killer, a second to that race, so it's just J-Pal and Corel will clear to the corner.
Yeah, that's great defense by T. Corel once again. He's shown a brilliant calmness and composure in some tricky situations already. For such a new player, it's great to see. First killer will flick high. Again, T-Corral is there. It's good spacing on the first challenge from J-Pow, giving plenty time for T-Corral to react to first killer's forced flick. And if that first challenge doesn't come in earlier, or as early as it did, then maybe first killer gets too close and flicks it from a more deadly area. Look at this from first though. Pinches a back pass at his team. Not often you see one of them.
It has to be just almost blind faith at this point. The first killer is going to manage to create something. Because you can see almost like a hint of frustration, and that was a dangerous play from Rogue. We'll need to avoid that again.
Yeah, T-Corral, really not doing the best that he could have done with that shot. Also, he rushed it and had to slow down, got a bit ahead of the ball now. First killer with a rare overhead whiff. Rogue are leaving gaps in the defense for XSET to exploit. Oh, speaking of gaps in defense, AlphaCap accidentally knocks in middle. Now Turanturo will do the same, this time on purpose. Both teams are falling apart slightly as overtime goes longer and longer. It does, really take a lot of focus to stay at the top of your game, not just for an entire Rocket League game, but for two of them, because that's what this game's turned into as 5 minutes overtime approaches. Still scoreless, and, well, obviously, if the overtime's still going, it would be scoreless, wouldn't it? But that one chance for T-Corral, he'll be disappointed he couldn't at least put it on target.
Oh, there's a big demo as well on the goal line. AlphaCap comes in a bit late. Kronovi does take the spot, and as mentioned, we have seen a couple more mistakes here as it goes off the backboard. Kronovi will clear. So both of these teams will be happy to reset in between games, but that reset is so much easier when you're the team that's coming in off the win. Also, what was going to make this next goal so important is it's going to make next game so much easier to get for. As Corral now forced to head back. First killer will take over. It's not the best landing for him, but he still manages to clatter into Corral. AlphaCap was able to follow up, but huge opportunity goes to waste.
Yeah, first killer's goalkeeping showing up once again, keeping a brilliant shot out of the net, or brilliant opportunity out of the net, I should say. And also clearing the ball all by himself. Just transition play on a one-man mission. But that's promising for XSET, who I think have better comeback potential in this matchup based on what we saw from them against NRG last regional event. And, given how Rogue have a tendency to throw when things are really not going their way. And this would be a real blow to their confidence if they lose after leading 2-0 early on in this game. Overtime continues, so we're well past 6 minutes now. Still no clear goal in sight.
It has become the never-ending story so far. First killer back to the corner. His opportunities have become few and far between so far as Kronovi tries to go for a chip shot. Going back and forth with who is getting these chances. You're also seeing that, whilst we wanted earlier on the rest of Rogue to start moving forward a bit more with first killer, that line has got further back. Turanturo to the far side off the post. And we will march on. Nearly 7 minutes of overtime play. J-Pal looks to take out Kronovi, and he couldn't find the bump.
Was saved by Kronovi. Like you said, he had to avoid J-Pal, who was trying to bump him after that shot on target. Turanturo gets dunked on pretty hard here. Kronovi's got a soft clear to J-Pal, and it's in! Just over 7 minutes in OT. Rogue are the ones to crumble. That's a double commit and a bad clear all in one. And that is unfortunately for Rogue, something that we see all too often. XSET will be ecstatic. 1-0 in the series.
Well, that should have been over about 7 minutes ago. And if you are Rogue, this is going to take a lot to make a mental comeback from. That was one of the most painful defeats we have ever seen in a single game. And Johnny, the thing is you look at this, and I'll be saying to everyone at home, look, if people that usually join in later on the stream, because, it's only round 2, we just want to see the elimination games, we just want to see teams qualify.
Yeah.
If you guys have joined us early today, there is your reward for it. What a game that was.
Yeah, phenomenal from XSET. They were pretty outplayed early on in this matchup mechanically. But they managed to level out that clear disadvantage and then came back with a brilliant off-the-ball play by AlphaCap. We were talking about in pre-game. Finally, one of our points of analysis has actually come into the very first game of a series, so it's probably still fresh in your memory. But you need to keep an eye on the AlphaCap. He loves to stay upfield for long periods of time and gets big bumps onto his opponents to the point where they will likely get annoyed by his presence. He's just one of those players that you see that nameplate coming towards you, and you think, oh, for goodness sake, why is Alpha kept there? Just go rotate. Just leave our half, please. Stop taking a stop demoing us. It looks like Rogue are going to respond immediately. They'll wish they scored that in the last overtime. But for now, it will do. Kronovi, the first killer to the back of the net. 1-0 Rogue.
I don't necessarily we're going to add on to the rules of Rocket League. We already have quite a few of them. All of them seemingly have also been labeled number 1. But another one of the more unspoken rules of Rocket League is that no matter how long the last overtime was, your next goal is coming 5 seconds into the next game.
Yeah, usually a kickoff goal.
Usually a kickoff goal. But I will be curious to see what version of Rogue we are going to have in this game, because I feel like they were almost like their most threatening when First Killer was just cutting rotation as often as he possibly could when he was spotting the rest of the team around as they drop down, and Kronovi scores a peach of a pass.
Brilliant by Turnturo. Using that ceiling to bounce the ball down much faster than it would have usually arrived in the box. AlphaCap wasn't ready for it. Kronovi was. And Rogue, just like in game number 1, get a couple of early goals. XSET need to steady the ship here. They were able to come back from 2 down. 3, probably a different story. Oh no, it's an own goal! T. Corral was already in the air and he just fell on it, rebounded it into his own net. Wow, what a disaster. He's definitely been bumped there, so it's a little bit unfortunate, but still not where you want to be for XSET when the ball's flying towards your box.
The bump almost makes it more calamitous in the terms of the visual of it. You know, you can definitely say from a professional standpoint, yep, this happened because of this. But from a visual standpoint, it does just look a little bit silly, as now 3 to the better Rogue. And any questions that would have come of how would that last overtime loss affect them pretty much go out the window instantly. That is now an opportunity gone for XSET to try and take advantage of that. You got the feeling if they did get the first goal in this game, maybe Rogue might start to crumble a little bit more, but it's a 3-goal lead. Rogue should have this, and I say should. I still don't trust them, Johnny.
Well, I have a little bit more faith in you. I think that they can pull this one off. This was exactly what Rogue needed. It was the nightmare scenario in game number 1. Just another typical Rogue game where everything's going their way and then they somehow manage to lose it anyway in a ridiculous situation. But they've rebounded brilliantly, so credit to them. They aren't always a team who are known for being able to do that. So today, clearly a good day for them in the comms. Both the first 2 goals they scored were team goals. They were passing involvement. Now, that really wouldn't be happening, or you wouldn't expect to see that happening if the comms had just completely died and the team chemistry had just fallen off after such a disappointing overtime in the first game.
Kronovi looks for the pass. T. Corral. Now, he will be disappointed by the own goal later on, but one thing we can definitely say about his game today has been his ability to read where the passing plays have been going, especially the infield, has been absolutely phenomenal. Maybe some of the other ones, you know, maybe Turanturo's ceiling pass is pretty close to impossible to try and read. The ones he has had an advantage on, he has managed to get to. That drops into the midfield. Turanturo can't follow it.
Yeah, Turanturo is sitting back a bit there. Rogue don't need more goals. They're going to obviously take them if they're gifted them. But I like that Turanturo's trying to hang back a little bit more now that they already have a massive lead. The main objective for Rogue at this point is just not to concede. Try and keep the comms on XSET quiet, because you know that no matter what, no matter how late in a game the XSET goal comes, they're still going to be really hyped when it happens. It's going to give them, you know, a real boost of adrenaline and a boost in morale going into the next game, or even trying to make another late comeback. So the best way to deal with a team like that is to try and keep the sheet clean, try and keep them scoreless for as long as possible.
Just put the ice on them, as T. Corral will look for another booming clear, but so far, no options available for XSET. They need someone that's going to be able to follow up immediately, as Kronovi flies on past that. J-Pal giving him a lot of respect, was trying to follow his own angle. But XSET really, not just a lack of goals, but a lack of shooting opportunities so far. And when Rogue are not pressing for their own sort of goals, they can start to turtle up, and they do well from that position. First killer found the angle, but unlucky to find a defender in front of it. And using the post to keep it out, Alpha Kep keeps it at a 3-goal deficit with a minute left. This one should be done and dusted.
Certainly, even with Rogue's occasional throw potential, to put it mildly, there's just no way. Their mechanics have been on point. Their rotation is fully functional. And we actually haven't seen, or we haven't had a chance to see what happens to Rogue when they go down in a game yet, because the only time they've been losing a game was when they lost it, when it was over in overtime. But hopefully at some point in the series we get to see how Rogue are playing from a deficit in a game. So that to me is the big question mark. Well, one of the big question marks to know if they're going to be a contender for this regional. I have to see them playing a solid rotational game while they trail by at least a goal.
So a couple of updates as well. I feel pretty confident in doing this without Rogue suddenly turning this one a little bit more terrifying for themselves. But whilst we do have this one going, it's about to be tied up at 1 apiece. A couple of results from the upper side of our bracket. Peeps 3-0 against Crimson Wings, NRG 3-0 against Nefarious, and G2 3-1 against Team Frontline, Johnny. So day one so far, following to pretty much the script, more or less.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one to get the predictions right on for the most part, or so you would think, because just like in the first European group that we had last weekend, this day is very top heavy, and then there's lots of teams in the middle who are quite close in skill, I would say. That being said, XSET are one of the teams who I do think have got the best chance of getting a win against one of the top 4 in this group and trying to make a big upset happen once again. But from what we're seeing so far, Rogue are still on another level. Their mechanics are just too good, and I think it's their speed in the air especially that's causing XSET problems in the final third. Defensively, I've been impressed with some of First Killer's saves as always, but Rogue still have improvements to be made overall. XSET didn't really get a chance to test them too much in the last game.
No, that's the issue about when those games go so far out of your hands so quickly. Most teams, you see that third goal go in, it's just, okay, it's done, no matter how much time is left on the clock. So XSET will be happy just to go to 0-0 and almost get an opportunity from that one. J-Pow wants to keep the pressure up, but since the ball is so squeezed against that back wall, it is going to be difficult for XSET to really create anything. J-Pow doesn't like his first touch, decides to reset for a second chance at it. We'll see what XSET can do here. Maybe for the first time, they can actually grab themselves the first goal. As we are now half a minute through here. J-Pow again on the ball. Good flick from him. First killer into Toro now have to try and take on this onslaught as Kronovi tries to get back. And they do a fantastic job of it.
Yeah, I'm really rooting for XSET to at least go 1-0 ahead in one of these games. Because I want to see, like I keep saying, I want to see how Rogue respond to that. I want to see how they play from behind today. Have they been working on improving in that regard? And just trying to stay more consistent, not let things just get completely out of control. Lots of chances for XSET in this right-hand side offensive corner already. None of them coming to fruition. Now maybe something will happen. Never mind, Kronovi far too fast for AlphaKev to have a chance to keep up with them. And the physicality for Rogue is starting to show up more and more. Deciding to fight fire with fire. I think that's a good idea for a team like Rogue. They have plenty of solo play potential in their team. In fact, just as much as they do team play. They've got brilliant solo duelists on their lineup. You're brilliant. You're very good at outplaying multiple opponents, and that was open. It has gone in. It didn't need that last touch, I believe. It looked like it might be hitting the post, but Kronovi's shot was good enough, and just like earlier in the game, the aerial speed of Rogue getting them victories.
It just feels like XSET got a little bit desperate for that goal for no real reason. Diving players in, didn't quite need to do it. Especially if you're not even going to be able to make contact before Kronovi beats you to the ball. Oh, Toro. There is no way! Oh. There is every way! When Toro is on the ball!
That's disgusting. Flip reset into a pre-flip air dribble. And even a little bit of crossbar as a spice to finish off that brilliant goal. Well, what control, what timing from Turo to catch that ball at the end of his flip and have immediate control. It wasn't like he was playing catch up there, like is often the case when you come out of a flip reset play. You're trying to regain control. No, he had control immediately. As soon as he flipped on top of that ball, he was fully the force behind it. And there was nothing that XSET could do
So we saw the desk offer up a few pretty tame predictions earlier on. Very obvious, matter of fact, okay, this team's going to probably do this. I'm going to offer my own very tame, very matter of fact prediction here. We're seeing that one tomorrow on the top 3 plays. There is no way we don't get another chance to see that, as it is going to be Toronto up again.
Oh.
What a save by J-Pal. But that's the quality you've had to have so far to keep Toronto out.
AlphaCap tried to go high there, faked a flip reset, and then went for the double touch, but First Killer had both covered. Just perfect height in his aerial defense. Yeah, like you said, unreal from Turinturo. Has to be one of the top 3, surely. Note it down.
It would be very difficult to beat that one.
Note it down. It was game number 3, Rogue versus XSET, Turinturo with his second goal. We got to have that one in there. Hey, if we don't, then the other 3 goals are going to be pretty special. So I'm looking forward to it either way.
It's one of those ones where if it doesn't happen, then we're probably going to be equally as happy anyway, because we were treated at some point. So keep an eye on the rest of the broadcast today to see what the other ones will be, and almost offer your own predictions, actually, as to what tomorrow's top 3 will be. Is going to be Turinturo up and double commit, but if I saw Turinturo jumping right now, I'd double commit as well. You might as well get more bodies in front of him. Kronovi couldn't react quick enough, and AlphaCaps made a game of this.
Yeah, that pre-flip center ball totally surprised Kronovi, who was a bit flat-tired on the goal line. And AlphaCap's timing was perfect. He was already moving full speed as that ball arrived to the near post. Kronovi, having to wait for the ball to come to him, had no chance of getting there. And now XSET attempting to do exactly what they did in game number 1. They were getting styled on a little bit, they were getting outpaced, and then they started to get the comeback rolling. And now is the time where Rogue have to pay utmost attention to AlphaCap sneaking right behind them. Oh, Turinturo's just going to go and score, keep that 2-goal lead intact. My goodness.
Please tell me this isn't goal. Oh, there we go. I was hoping that at least there was a second touch involved. Of course there was. AlphaCap tried.
It was.
And that was about as much as he was going to be able to do about that one. Turinturo has just been outstanding. That is his second brace. And he has just been unstoppable whenever he's had time on the ball. So don't give him time on the ball. It's so easy when you say it like that.
Yeah, that's that's the coaching, I suppose.
I'm available, Rocket League team.
Just stop letting Turinturo touch the ball, and your chances to win are going to increase drastically. You know, that's right up there in the top coaching tips of the day, alongside score more goals than the other team.
Send me as a martial arts coach. I told him to not get hit quite as much.
Exactly. Stop getting hit. Stop. You know, how do you not get demoed? Just dodge the other the guy trying to demo you. It's really quite simple when you think about it. But yeah, at the same time, easier said than done. How do you stop Turinturo from getting to the ball when he's as fast and as efficient and as smart with his positioning as he is? You don't, or at least not in this matchup.
Here we go. End of this game. 2 goals to the better, and Rogue have been phenomenal as Turinturo impresses so much. You had so much hype about him when he originally came in, and it did sort of cool off a little bit, but Turinturo immediately reminding us why back on Charlotte Phoenix, he was such a big name and such a hot prospect as an up-and-comer.
Yeah, now Turinturo, when he's playing well, he plays really well. It's games like this that remind you, like you said, why Rogue picked him up as their new third for this season. The thing that Turinturo has to work on is trying not to completely fade away when he doesn't have a pop-off performance. His baseline is a bit lower, although his ceiling is very, very high. But you know, Rogue have got problems, I suppose, or they've got things that they're working on for all 3 of their players, and nobody would argue that the potential of this team is through the roof. For now, though, they're back in front. They've managed to take 2 games in a row there. The second one, or the third one, is a bit closer than the second, with XSET responding late on into it. But the same question I'm going to keep asking over and over again. What are Rogue going to do when they finally trail, when they lose the first goal? I mean, if they just keep scoring first, they're never going to have that problem. But I'm so curious to see. You know, I'm going to be watching Rogue all day. That sounds like some Shogun
coaching right there, Johnny.
Yeah, go on, concede just so you can learn how to play from behind. It is worth mentioning, you know, how often maybe Rogue are one of those teams that just dominate in scrims and they never have to play from behind. Then as soon as it happens to them, they're like, wait, we didn't practice for this. We never tried that. So maybe they've got to go and let, start scrims from a 0-1 deficit. See if they can improve when they're already losing.
Oh, T-Corral. It's going to be still available for Turintoro, who, you know what? If there was anyone I was going to let just stay around there, it would be Turintoro right now. Kronovi goes pretty even with J-Pal. Looks to lay it off the first killer. Just push to the right-hand side. First killer looks to keep this going. Jumps up. He's managed to fake a few out here, but the second touch, the recollection of the ball, wasn't quite there for him. First killer, as always, just gets onto the ball and it becomes his pace. He decides what's going to happen. Makes him so useful, especially when you need a team to start tracking back and reposition.
Yeah, once again, Rogue starting to beat XSET to the ball. XSET have to pick their battles very intelligently in these games. And this could be the last one of the series, but if it isn't, then, next game, same thing. They need to pick their battles. You can't just fly up for a ball that looks like a 50-50 chance of you getting it or a Rogue player getting it, because what you think is a 50-50 is probably more like a 60-40. What you think is a 60-40 in your favor is more like 50-50. Rogue are just that quick that they keep surprising XSET by how quickly they're beating him to the punch. T-Corral continuing to show off that positioning in the back corner and defensively. Doesn't matter how many Rogue cars are surrounding him, doesn't matter how little time he's got. He's showing some brilliant patience in the back corner, picking his angles very well. That's a good pre-jump save for J-Pow. The defense for XSET is impressive. When will they get a chance to score before they're trailing by 2?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll hear all of these compliments later on, Johnny, and say, well, this is nice and all, but we kind of wish we could just stop playing this much defense.
Yeah.
T-Corral has proven us time and time again just how quick he can be at reading those sorts of plays. That is a double commit. You said you got to try and pick your battles. That was too much. And that is a fantastic clear from Alpha Kep. Rogue couldn't quite figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
That allowed him his chance.
Yeah, I think if Kronovi just poked that ball into the corner wall, it would have centered easily for first killer to score, but he went for the mind game instead. And, credit to Alpha Kep, he kind of just had to ball chase and hope in that position. There's no point trying to read anything else. First killer's going to get the opening goal of the game. It's again, another game where Rogue get that early advantage. And it was a cheeky little pass there from Turintoro. Nobody reacted quickly enough to it for XSET. Unfortunate for them, but it's the same old story. They must be getting used to it by now.
I do want to point out just how good that decision-making was from Turintoro as well, because that ball was coming towards him. He did realize that the net would have been partially open for him as first killer comes in and hits the crossbar. Just can find that shooting accuracy like Turintoro's got. And maybe this could have been 4 or 5 first killer set. Turintoro, well, tell me if you've heard this one before this series. He scores.
Yeah, unfortunately, another goal in game number 4 where XSET have just failed to close down the striker. There was nobody blocking that shot or just flying forward to make the goal a bit smaller, or at least the open part of the goal a bit smaller. Not that it would have mattered. Turo's accuracy, I'm pretty sure he was going to put that top corner if he needed to. First killer was very close to scoring from the other angle. The very difficult read. But yeah, Rogue are playing some brilliant Rocket League right now. Even in game 1, I think they played quite well. They were doing totally fine, except for, Kronovi getting caught one time by Alpha Kep with a demo, and then, of course, the double commit in overtime. Outside of those 2 plays, Rogue had 11, I think it was 12 minutes, actually, of, I'd say, splendid Rocket League for them. Very consistent. But they haven't had to come back from behind, and this is the thing that remains in question for me. I'm very interested to see how Rogue are going to play if they can finish off this series. They're going to be 2-0 on the day. They're going to have to play against, an NRG or a G2 or one of the other top teams, the Peeps as well. They're going to be the other teams in the group who are 2-0. Surely in one of those matchups, Rogue are going to lose the first goal. Surely.
Yeah, I think
that's where we learn about them.
If they get to one of those and they don't go down by a single goal, that becomes a much bigger story in itself. As, Rogue have definitely shown off some answers to questions that I feel like we already knew the answer to coming into this series. We will get much different questions post them later on in the tournament, but Corral would like to keep this one going, at least for now. Double commit, as that's going to be J-Pal to turn it in. What a double touch from T. Corral, and he keeps this series going.
Such a great dunk as well. He reached the back wall, still didn't have the ball sent into the middle, so he needed to both, deflect that as it came back off the wall and also block the defender who was trying to send it into the corner. perfect manipulation of his car from T-Corral. And you just wonder, why do XSET only find these plays once they've conceded at least 2 goals? What is it that's stopping them from pulling that out the bag earlier on in the game? They've just got the opposite problem of Rogue. They seem to start playing really well when they're losing. Rogue, they play really well as long as they keep winning. If both these teams could put together their strengths, I guess they would be unbeatable, because the comeback potential for XSET is clearly pretty good.
And Rogue comparing notes after this series between the two teams.
Yeah, Rogue are some of the best front runners in the scene. When they can get that 1-goal lead, they really know how to turn that into a stronger advantage for themselves. XSET, not so much. But yeah, overall, this series has gone as expected. Rogue able to take it. They always beat XSET when they play, apparently. Now
I'll go find the streak for you right now.
What is that?
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to count a best of 3.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9.
9. Wow.
That's one of the longer ones out there right now.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, XSET are their 1 win and 1 loss on the day now. Their 1 win was also a Game 5 win, so I don't know if they're going to be feeling too confident based on the results that they're getting. But when they take a look at the group, and I think, given the teams that they're likely to have to play against for the final 3 rounds, they should still be making it into that top 16 pretty comfortably.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen enough from them to know that, as long as they can control the midfield a bit more, they might have a better shot in the future, and you're not going to face Rogue every single round. So for XSET, sort of get a figure out there roughly where they are placed in the hierarchy. As for Rogue, they want to start testing out where they sit in the hierarchy. And they're going to get a chance in round number 3. It's themselves, the Peeps, NRG, and G2. They want to make it through 3-0. When we come back, we'll find out if they can.